Hello, welcome to the Wealth Transfer. We left you off last week with some, real strong economic data to let you know what's really happening. Today, we're going to get into some nice details showing you exactly what economic data are doing and some solutions to what the wealthy are doing or those ready for the wealth transfer. Hi, my name is Terry Sacka. I'm Chief Strategist. I'm along with Dr. Charles Vance. Hello, Charles.
We are so glad that you guys joined us today. I know that if you stay around, you'll be enlightened about what's going on worldwide in the financial system. It is really not up to someone else. I want you to be aware of this. It's not up to someone else to make financial decisions for you. There's a lot of folks that think, well, the government will take care of me because I've worked for years and I have Social Security and retirement. You can't depend on somebody else to take care of you. You've got to plan for yourself. There's a whole lot of people, Terry, that are planning things that the government and the financial system told them, you're in good shape, just leave it alone, don't touch anything, don't rock the boat. And the fact is, there's a lot of things that are happening financially that is extremely dangerous to us as individuals.
You know, I'm so glad you said that because we have a major population right now, retirement, the baby boomers. And we are all conditioned to think that we live off of bonds that produce income. Pension funds are collapsing all over the country because the algorithm matrices they use no longer is earning that kind of income. We talked about negative interest rates. Negative interest rates mean you can't make any money on bonds. And so it's really stealing from the baby boomers and that generation. Now, why is this important? We were showing you how the American financial system is being extremely challenged. And we were trying to show you that we were printing all this money. We're losing respect around the world. We're losing our financial strength. Now, look at this image I want to show you of what we call our U.S. Treasury rate. What that really means, a 10-year rate. What that is, we issue IOUs called bonds. The world buys the bond, and in return, they get paid back interest on their money.
We as who?
Well, the government.
The government, okay.
The government issues bonds, and that's how they pay their debt, mind you, because we spend roughly $1 trillion a year more than we make in taxes. So we issue these bonds. The world no longer is buying our bonds, by the way. They stopped buying them for the most part. And the central banks have been buying our bonds. This is how bad it is. But bonds used to be a storage of income, not just for the retired folks and the baby boomers, because they always used to say your financial advisor says you should be in a certain percentage of bonds to your age. And I know because I'm an accredited asset management specialist. I used to be a financial advisor and I had multiple licenses. I know what they're thinking. They're fiat based. Your financial advisor is telling you one thing. Most of the time they're going to be wrong. And I get it because you see, we have been conditioned rate of return, year over year return, income. And this is how they beat down, and most folks don't see it coming. But Terry, let me do this. I had a gentleman, he's a client of ours, and he came in with a small IRA, and he was coming in with a bigger chunk of it inherited money. It was roughly about $300,000. His financial advisor gets a hold of him that he's had for a long, long time, and the guy develops cold feet. Now, what's interesting about it, he had that $300,000 today. He would have just went into the silver because it was an inherited account. So leave it. That was a long-term thing. Just keep it there for retirement. If he would have went in there with that $300,000 back when he was going to, silver's already up 50% for the year since he was starting this. His $300,000 would be worth $450,000 right now. And here's what I can almost guarantee, because we can never say that. I'll bet his stock account with his financial advisor is not even close and probably down. I feel really bad for him because he listened to the wrong information. And some of these advisors are Christians, good people, but they're educated in the fiat world. Their loyalty is to this, not God's money, which is silver. And here this guy's $300,000 inherited account would be worth $450,000. Now, that's just today, mind you. And that's a small example of what we're trying to say. Be careful who you're listening to. Be careful.
50 years ago, I remember my mom and dad bought some bonds, and the reason
the savings bonds?
Yeah, they were government bonds.
Yes, right.
And the
right,
reason they bought them was because they actually paid more interest than a savings account did, which was several percent back then.
Well, remember, we had 19% interest rates back in the day, right?
In the 70s, yeah.
Yes, that's what people are conditioned off of.
But even before that, Mom and Dad in the early 60s, I remember buying bonds. I can't remember what the interest rate was. I just remember I said, why do you do that? You know, I'm a kid. I'm asking them that. And they said, because it pays more interest than the savings account, a passbook savings account.
Now, here's what happened. Back then, we were still on the gold standard, then we got off. We were still sound money as a nation.
Exactly.
Our bonds actually had value of income. So we would generate wealth over time. Here's today. This image behind me now. That from left to right is our bond 10-year Treasury note over the decades. Now this goes all the way back to what? That goes back to 1990. So this goes all the way back to 1990. You notice in 1990 how high it was? It was almost 9% there, right? So people made money. But look at from left to right. The gray areas are depressions, recession. That's the value of our Treasury over these decades. Ever since the big gray area there on the right, which is 2008 collapse, look at the value of our U.S. Treasury bonds. They're worthless. And I mean, they're worth a lot less, but they're completely worthless, meaning you can't make income anymore. And here's something I hate to tell you, it will never ever come back. We can never have high interest rates again. Our debt is so huge in the astronomical trillions that in order to pay just the interest on the debt we owe to our bonds, we can't have high interest rates.
You're talking about America.
Yes.
Bonds.
And that's why Social Security recipients can't have income raises called COLA. That's why they can't have cost of living adjustments in these programs. They can't afford it. We cannot afford. If they raise interest just a few percentage points, we will be paying roughly $1 trillion a year just in interest rates on our debt. So they can never raise interest again, meaning bonds will never produce income again. And now our retirees and our income wealth has to come somewhere else. I contend it always was in God's money and U.S. constitutional money, Article 1, Section 8, grains of silver. That's the real definition of a dollar, by the way.
Now, it's still, I feel like for some reason I need to really express this today. It's your responsibility to do something with what you have. You know, some people have worked that are watching us have worked 30, 40 years, and they've allowed someone else to take their retirement money
and put
it somewhere.
If you look at this chart, they were making income, and then look at the income, how it goes down. So it's been incremental, Charles, and you don't know this. You don't know how incremental you're losing buying power with your retirement savings. Charles is absolutely right. If you were in tangible assets, through this process, you would be wealthier. Now, a lot of people they have real estate. Real estate's good, but it's not as liquid. This is important.
I can testify to that. I've owned several pieces and some.
Silver is always liquid. You can sell it on a dime, right?
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to illustrate this because that is never coming back. And what we've done is printed trillions and trillions of dollars here in the last 7 years, causing our stock market to go into stratosphere, really. I mean, look at this image. Our stock market is in stratosphere. This is an S&P index going all the way back to, that one goes all the way back, the 90s as well. And you can see where the two highs are, right? Look at the two highs. Look at where we're at today on the right. It's unsustainably fake. Now that has not happened in 30 years. The reason, you can take that off, the reason this has happened is because of the trillions and trillions of money they're printing. Here's the problem. The money they're printing is making the bankers wealthy, the 1% wealthy, but we, the people, are suffering because of buying power. And so we don't have a standard of living in the future like you think. Your inheritance to your children's children will probably be spent. That's why it's crucial to be diversified in tangible assets. Liquid silver is why I'm so passionate about it. We produce 4.9 technology grade quality silver at Cornerstone. I encourage you to take this seriously. Register for information, give us a call, get educated. Here's a good place to get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those of you who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you who have cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call our toll-free number or register on our website now.
Now, we left off talking about constitutional money. So I want to show you some charts and direct evidence of the power of gold. And I really want to say the power in the name of Jesus. I love that song, by the way.
Don't sing. Just do not sing.
You've got to see the power of gold over time. And I just use gold because gold is actually tier one money. I'm not really a fan of gold because I don't trust it with the government because it is money. Silver is industrial. So there's a big difference. Silver is kingdom's money, by the way.
Silver and gold generally move together,
absolutely,
though, right? So
yeah, when gold going to the high right now will be maybe a 40% profit. Silver going to the high will be 150% from here. I mean, it's already up 50% for the year. But look at this image. This is dramatic when you look at it. The light line is known as the gold miners index, the gold light line. The dark line is the S&P 500. You notice back in the mid-90s, there was an inverse correlation where the S&P exploded and gold dropped in a value. That's because the paper banking system was manipulating things. Then, of course, the markets crashed, we all know, at the very peak of that inversion there on the left. And the markets crashed, and you notice the S&P came back to its real matrix of value where the price of gold was. Then they traveled predominantly the same all the way through to 2008, and then they both collapsed in 2008. Now, why did the gold miners collapse? They were selling gold, taking the profits to pay for the losses in the stock market in 2008. So now gold booms, leave in 2008, and then the S&P starts going up. Now, check out that massive inverse correlation on the right. The S&P and gold are supposed to be the same. When they go through this kind of correlation, some massive implosion is taking place. Either gold is skyrocketing up or the S&P is absolutely collapsing, and I contend both are going to happen. I contend gold is going to not only hit its highs but higher, and that stock market is absolutely collapsing. It must. This chart is well over 30 years of data. And every time this inverse has happened, let alone one this large, you will see action. So you can take that off.
You don't have to listen to a whole lot of people that are knowledgeable about the stock market, and they keep telling people.
They're not looking at this though, just so you know.
No, they keep telling people that it's got to correct itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear people constantly saying the stock market is something's going to happen to it. It's just overinflated.
And check out this inversion. You see, this kind of correlation. The reason it's so huge. It's never been this big. So obviously the stock market is fake. Gold is suppressed. Here we go. And then here we go with this. Gold as a percentage of global financial assets. Now, if you look at it, this goes all the way back to 1960 on the left. 1960 to 1980. We came off the gold standard. On the left side, the world ran their finances based on gold. But then look at on the right side. We're now in today. The world's finances is no longer based on gold. That's why we're seeing the massive collapses.
So it's just based on fiat money?
Fake money out of thin air.
Paper, just IOUs.
Gold always, all through history, goes back to being the basis of a currency. We had, wait till you see where I show you. We had wealth generation here when we were on gold. Wait till you see this chart. We the people did.
Sure.
When we get to this, you're going to absolutely be amazed. Now we're on fake paper money. Who's getting wealthy? Not we the people, right? Look at this. Global assets now under management in the tune of trillions. Back in 2004, before the financial bubble hit in mortgages, it was only about 40 trillion. Today it's about 120 trillion. But if you notice, if you look behind me here, you can go on us full, so you can see this.
Tell folks what you mean by under management.
Meaning these are known as assets that they say are that people own. Here's the problem, if you see it in yellow. It's fake assets. It's paper. Meaning it's not tangible. They're not owning something tangible. They're owning paper investments. So our whole global Western financial system is based on paper value, which can evaporate like this. Not tangible value.
You know, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the euro eliminating the 500, and the guy at Harvard, was that one of the financial guy? Suggesting that we eliminate the $100 bill in America, which is 70% of the currency that is in circulation now.
That's why instead of having paper money in the banking system or in the broker system, have silver in the vault, and you're not subject to any of that.
Absolutely.
They can take all the currency out they want. You have silver money, gold money.
Or at home. Take it home.
Yeah, take it home.
I've got it at home.
We have plenty of people, what they do is they take it home, and then in the IRAs, they store it in the vault because they have to for the deposit, for the custodian for the IRA. And of course, Cornerstone helps them do that.
But it's not in a government vault.
No, it's in a private vault.
Right.
And you have to do this. Now, I want to just caveat something real quick for you. There are companies out there advertising. You can take your gold and silver home in your IRA and store it in a safe deposit box or in your house. And I'm just telling you, the IRS has already come out and said, watch it. They have not vetted it. The IRS is going to take that stuff down. Don't get caught up in that because you have to create an LLC and everything. A true IRA protection and preservation has to go to a private depository where your custodian manages it. And Cornerstone Asset Metals uses a phenomenal custodian. We help guide you through the process. That's what we're here to do, is educate you. So I really encourage you to get information and register because information is key to this. This asset base is fake. It was paper assets, mind you. During the same period, smart money, God money, but smart money has been doing this. Gold investment demand since the same time frame or just the last few years. Look at the gold investment demand in just the last year alone. It has skyrocketed. So the price hasn't moved. Well, it has a little bit, obviously. It's up 40% or so. Silver's up 50%.
I'd say
but demand is
people's
exploding.
stock is not up that much.
Right. Gold and silver physically, the demand, if you see by this chart, is through the roof. So typically, economics say that when demand's this high, supply is limited, price skyrockets.
Sure.
They're manipulating it through derivatives. Thank God they are, for those of you who have never done it.
Explain that, because there's a lot of people listening I know that doesn't know what a derivative is, what it really is.
Okay.
And
what they're doing is, a derivative is a paper investment. What they're doing is selling gold and silver contracts in the futures market that control the physical for now. Chinese are getting ready to take it over. They have sold in the silver market, for instance, roughly 500 ounces of silver on paper for every one real physical ounce in the vault for delivery. So it basically means 500 people are on that side of the street, 1 ounce is on the other side, go. That's not good. So by doing this, they've been selling what they don't actually own to deliver. There's going to be a reckoning, and because they're doing that, it's keeping the price down.
But that can't last. That can't last forever.
It's definitely not going to last forever because there's a reckoning has to take place. Thank God it is for those who haven't done anything, because you can still get protected. We're just going to keep going because this is good. We need to be protected. And the gold demand, silver demand is exploding. Supply is disappearing, especially in silver.
Silver, I actually saw a show on, it was just a show on the Discovery Channel or something.
Oh, that's
and they told the diminishing of silver, so much so that there are companies that are pulverizing telephones and old computers to take the minute pieces of, minute parts of silver out of those and creating an industry out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, because we have actually been negative the silver output for so long. Let's go here.
So there's more consumption than there is production of silver?
There is no doubt about it. Matter of fact, for roughly 12 years now.
Wow.
More consumption than we not only produce out of the mines, that we recycle.
So the only thing that could be holding that price down is the derivatives that are being, so the paper.
Yes.
They're saying that you can buy 500 ounces of silver, but it's a paper, it's an IOU.
Yes. IOU.
Dangerous.
I know. And so, but what is this for us? This is fantastic news for the kingdom. So as we're seeing the outlining trauma coming into the global economy, physical silver has been so suppressed like an elephant on a spring. The supply is dwindling. Once this reckoning flips, you will see silver valuation explode hundreds of %. Now, don't get me wrong. God doesn't mind we be wealthy. I mean, God doesn't mind if we're wealthy. Really, he doesn't. You know, those that love me, I make wealthy and fill your treasury, right?
He wants us to be, actually.
Absolutely.
He has
a kingdom example.
Has pleasure when we prosper, the Bible says.
But, you know, my concern is that we have this wealth transfer so we can be here to be supporting our churches, supporting our ministries, supporting the spread of the gospel, feeding the poor. This is what wealth transfer is about. Not only that, inheritance to your children and your children's children. You're not going to do it if you keep staying in this fiat world. And that's why it's more about a longer, medium term to longer term storage of value over time is why this is so crucial. We can't show any better data than this. Watch this next one. You're going to love this one, Charles. This is a long chart for data. This goes all the way back to the 1920s. We could even put this full. The red line, this is what I want everyone to see. We're going to sit on this for a second. The red line is the top 1% of money earners. Now, Bernie Sanders, that socialist, and them who cry about this, they're absolutely correct about this, but they're wrong absolutely about the solution. 1% earners, if you notice on the left, from 1920 all the way across to the right, roughly about 1980, the top 1% didn't make a whole lot, did they? The green line was we the people, the bottom 90% of the United States, we the people, the workers. If you've noticed since 1920, after World War II, we the people made a fortune and increased income, therefore making wealth. That big yellow arrow, August 1971, when Nixon fooled the world and ended the gold standard. When we were on the gold standard, we the people were wealthy. The rich stayed somewhat. They tricked us on purpose. And if you've noticed, ever since that yellow arrow straight down, 1980, look at the red line go straight up almost, and look at the green line, flat line and go down. The red have become super wealthy off of getting off the gold standard, and that was by design. The bankers ripped off we the people and stole all our wealth. Here's the thing. For those of us who would have stayed in silver and gold since then, you would still be infinitely wealthier today. That is infinitely wealthier. And we need to maintain this. If today is no different than that. If you notice this next chart we'll get into, this is huge. U.S. inflation. Like I said, we the people who stay in tangible assets will become wealthier. The 1%, they're in fiat, fake money. Look at here, the U.S. inflation creation, going way back to the same thing. No inflation, mind you, on the gold standard. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913, you see in the middle there. A little bit of inflation, right? but they hadn't ran it out because we're still on the gold standard. Look, as soon as we come off the gold standard, right there in blue, where Nixon abandoned the gold standard, they had something saying, oh, an average 3% inflation. They lied, they tricked you, they scammed you, making you think inflation was legitimate, when inflation was robbing you of storage of value over time, generational wealth to our children's children. Because if you look on the right side of that chart, ever since we came off, the rich have gotten wealthy. We, the people, through that inflation matrix on the right, have been depleted of our wealth. Here's the thing. For those that stayed in silver and gold, they may not only maintained wealth. Remember, 100,000 in the 70s in paper is 100,000 in paper. 100,000 in the 70s in silver, 2 million today. So though it doesn't change going forward, mind you, with what's coming, midterm to long-term storage of wealth over time, silver is going to be exceptional because of this chart you're looking at. The trillions we're printing, this line's going straight up. And we all know what goes up must come down. And leave you with the last one. The green line, central bank balance sheet, printing fake money. The red line, inflation expectation. And by the way, they're showing you inflation expectations going down. I'm showing you the facts that it was going up. What does that mean? That means we're in a deflation because the baby boomers aren't buying anymore and we're coming into a lot of trouble. So get protected, register for information, give us a call. We're educated here to guide you through the process to protect those IRAs, your inheritance to your children's children, and your church and ministry. God bless you until next week.
Tell somebody about the broadcast. You can watch these programs on demand at wealthtransfernews.com. I'm Charles Vance for Terry Sacka. We'll see you next week on The Wealth Transfer.
Are you concerned about the security of your financial future? Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you prepare for the extraordinary times ahead by protecting and preserving your assets through silver and gold. At Cornerstone, the protection and preservation of your investment is our first goal. So we are here to serve you with honesty, transparency, and respect. Take control of your future by registering on our website at cornerstoneassetmetals.com or call us toll-free at 888-747-3309. Call now, 888-747-3309. At Cornerstone, securing your future is our goal.